I'm often asked by property developers, what's the best rate you can get me? And I've always had a bit of a problem with that question because the interest rate is the most misunderstood part of development finance. We're clearly conditioned in this country to look at our finance through chasing the cheapest interest rate, and that's how we compare our finance. That's fine in residential because there's a standard practice amongst lenders. In development finance, there is no standard practice when it comes to the interest rate, and there are different ways it can be applied. As a result, you can have lenders with the same interest rate who are charging completely different levels of interest. It's really crucial that this is understood from the outset. The interest rate on its own is not enough information, and if you don't delve deeper into that, it can cost you thousands of pounds. So there's three main ways that development finance lenders can apply their interest rate. They can apply it to the total facility, they can apply it to the drawn balance, like a credit card, or they can use quite a complex method, which is a private equity-based internal rate of return model. But we'll stick with the first two as they're the most important. So if we give an example, let's look at a bridging finance lender who's charging 1% per month. If I said to you how much are they charging on a 12-monthly or on an annual basis, you would multiply by 12 and you would say they're charging 12% per annum. Now, if that lender is applying their 1% to the drawn balance, so what has been used each month over that 12-month period, and if we assume that they're drawing down money fairly equally over a period of time, what you'll find is that that interest rate or that annualized rate starts to come down. And it can be as low as 7.5% to 8% using this lender's example. So we're talking about a 30% difference in terms of what the finance costs actually are based on how that interest rate is applied. This is a major insight, I hope you would agree, that actually just looking at a lender based on their interest rate without understanding how it's applied can cost you quite a lot of money. So your cheaper lenders tend to be those who are applying the rate to the drawn balance. Now, another insight when it comes to drawn balance lenders is this. Your finance costs will vary depending on how and when you draw down your funds. The more you draw down sooner, the more expensive your finance is going to be. The more you draw down later, the cheaper your finance is going to be. So actually, it's not just about interest rate. It's about understanding your cash flow and using your cash flow to accurately predict what your finance costs will actually be. So what are the takeaways from this? Well, firstly, any lenders that you're speaking to, ask them how they apply their interest rate. And preferably go with lenders who are charging or applying the interest rate on the drawn balance. They tend to be the cheaper lenders from an interest point of view. Secondly, get comfortable with your drawdown requirement, get yourself a cash flow schedule and work out your finance costs based on your cash flow. It's crucial with drawn balance lenders that you do that. It will be a much more accurate method for you. Now, you're probably interested in lowering your finance costs as much as possible. So we have a really interesting free report that you can download at the bottom of this page, and it's called 7 Easy Ways to Slash 50% off your development finance costs. There's some really interesting insights in there, and I think you'll find it a useful report to read through. So do go ahead, download that report, and we hope that you enjoy it.